Hi everyone. Hi, I'm so grateful to all of you um, for joining in with me for this live today. Well, as we all know, it's World Mental Health Day. Hashtag Hear the Silence. And that was 1 minute of me listening to the silence. Well, this live today is just a tiny little effort to kind of address and emphasize on the fact that mental health is extremely important. And I know that over the years, we are finally starting to have a conversation, and we're trying our best to destigmatize mental health. But of course, it's a long journey ahead. So I really appreciate for all of you who have taken out the time to just join me in today's live. This year's theme for World Mental Health is a universal right, which basically means that it emphasizes on the fact that it's so important to create awareness around mental health, to kind of try to understand better what mental health really means, and for us to understand that it is right. It is a right that we all share together. And I was so happy to see all the questions that you guys sent in, and as promised, I did pick out my 5 favorite questions, which I would love to address in today's live. And I truly appreciate each one of you for just being involved in this, because it's so important to finally, address it and do whatever little that we can. So without a further ado, I will straight away jump into the first question, which was sent to me by Niharika Shetty 95. Her question is that where exactly does self-love come into the picture when you're at your lowest? Well, I'm no expert. I feel like for the longest time in my life, I've spent a lot of time struggling to kind of understand what self-love means. I think mostly during my teenage years, in retrospect, I realized that I had the ability to kind of love other people more than what I could actually love myself. I was a lot more empathetic towards others, more understanding towards others than I was to myself. And I think it's just about being able to find a place in life, or come to a point in life where you can finally treat yourself the way you treat others, with compassion, with empathy, and being a little less harsh towards ourselves. I think as human beings, all of us, we're just so critical of ourselves, and we are so harsh towards ourselves, and we hold such high expectations out of ourselves, and we usually crumble under it, and especially when we're dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, that's usually the time that it becomes hard to love yourself, and it becomes hard to be okay with the fact that you're probably dealing with something that is beyond you. But I think the thing that has helped me the most, especially when I'm at my lowest, is to kind of reach out to my inner circle. I think it's very important to surround yourself with people that you can trust, who have, your best in their mind. Because often these are the people who anchor us. And if they truly love you, and if they're truly your people, they're not going to be judgmental towards you. They're going to be there to remind you that how all of it is just a phase, and that you need to not be so harsh on yourself, and you need to, keep at it. So one of the things that I do when I'm at my lowest and I struggle with self-love is that I reach out to my people. I also have become a little more rational in terms of accepting what I'm dealing with. I think all of us are very insecure people, and it's usually our insecurities that kind of drive us to do better, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in our career, but how, it really depends. Are you able to tap your insecurities in the positive way and drive it in the right direction, or is it taking a toll on you? But trust me, I mean, all of us are insecure people. That's just human beings in general, and that's completely okay. But it's very important to kind of identify what's bothering you, and to kind of accept your flaws, and then make an attempt to move forward from there. Try positive affirmations. I do that all the time. It's very important to also kind of inculcate certain lifestyle choices that kind of make you feel better. It could be picking up a hobby. It could be having some time out for meditation or for exercising, because we all need some happy hormones. So you need to figure out what basically self-love means to you, and what are the things that you can probably do to make yourself feel better about yourself. And it's okay if you have flaws. So the next question is sent to me by Jyoti 810 Sharma, and what she asked me was that going through depression, it's very hard to ask for help. So how do we communicate with others? I think there's a lot of inhibition that we all go through when we're going through stuff that is probably beyond us. And maybe, like I said, the idea is to reach out to your people that you think you can trust. And if you look very closely, I'm sure you'll find at least one person that you can completely trust. And as much as it gets difficult, I think the whole idea of this conversation is the fact that, it's normal, and you're not the only one who's going through it. All of us go through it, at different stages in life. It could be related to our career, to our personal relationships, our relationships with our partners, with our parents. It could be financial stress, it could be XYZ. But I think just the fact that it's important to remind yourself that you're not the only one who's going through this, is going through this, is the biggest relief, I guess. At least that was for me, that I'm really not the only one who's going through this. And then from there on, you need to kind of push yourself to initiate a conversation. It's hard, but seeking help is very, very important, because we may not even understand the magnitude of what we're going through. And in case you feel that you don't think that you can really talk about it with your parents or with your friends or with your colleagues, or if you feel that you can't reach out and have this conversation with people that are close to you, then I think the next step is to, of course, try to reach out to a therapist, or seek some sort of consultancy. That's very important, because it's very, very important that you don't end up bottling up beyond a certain point, because that can be very, very unhealthy. So yeah, let go of your inhibitions. The next question was asked by Anki, and the question is, how do you overcome when people call your anxiety issues and mental health issues drama? Well, I guess you need to fine-tune your mind and understand that people who truly love you are people who will never be judgmental towards you. And if people are being judgmental towards you, then they're not your people. And so what they think is something absolutely irrelevant. I know it's easier said than done, but it's only, with time that you kind of realize that who are the people who really matter. And we all have our own set of opinions, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but to not be affected by that opinion is very, very important. So I don't think it is something that you even need to deal with. And even to begin with, people who are empathetic, they will never be judgmental towards you. And it's kind of important to find those people for yourself. And what a random third person really thinks should not matter, because it doesn't matter, because they don't know who you are, and they don't know what your battle is, and they don't care enough about you to kind of understand what you're dealing with. So as simple as that. Okay, so the fourth question was asked by It's Snehal01, and she actually asked me a bunch of questions. I wish I could address all of them. But the gist of it is that being a college student, how do you overcome the overthinking? Because sometimes it feels like depression. So first and foremost, I think overthinking is something that we all human beings do. Some overthink a lot, some maybe not so much. And trust me when I say this, it's not something that you're only dealing with in college. I think I've spent a lot of my time overthinking over certain things which are so trivial and they shouldn't matter. And from what I have learned from my experience is that when I kind of listen to too many people around me about what their definition of right or wrong is when I kind of lose out on what my belief system is. So what I try to do is that I try not to listen to the noise and just go with my gut. And I mean, of course it can be tough, but then again, when you think that you're going on a loop and you're just stressing and you're overthinking, so what I do is I'll probably call up my best friend. I'll probably, cry a little, howl a little, get my aggression out, and also try to look at the situation more practically and not so much emotionally. So that helps. Sometimes, when you think that your mind's too overstressed and you're thinking too much, just do something that gives you joy. Just stop it at that point. And again, easier said than done, but I think just having a conversation is the best way to tackle it. And if you do feel that it's getting too much for you to handle, then I suggest that you go see a therapist. And I don't think there is any shame or any harm. Literally everyone I know has had their experience and their struggle with their mental health, and I see with time that everyone's trying to address it and seek help. So if you really feel that you're probably suffering from depression, please go seek help and get some more clarity. Maybe it's not depression, and maybe if it is, then maybe it's time that you get yourself treated and get yourself better. So the last question that I picked up is by Ashna Rashid, and she asks me, what are the simple self-care practices that you recommend for improving mental health? Well, it's honestly something that you need to discover for your own self. I had to. Like, a lot of people love to meditate, and I think I kind of just struggle with it. It's not something that I can do beyond a certain point. So I struggle with that. But certain things that I do make sure to do is that I'll make sure that I get some time in the day to do a physical activity, because I really need the endorphins. I want those happy hormones. What also helps me is to stick to a routine. It makes me feel very good about myself. So, just sticking to, making a timetable of sorts and just sticking to it, that gives me a lot of joy. It's also good if you can try to figure out, if you can have a hobby of sorts and try to understand what you like. I was horrible at painting, but I realized that I enjoy it and I got better at it. Reading books is something that I love to do, and watching something interesting. Also, one thing that has really changed is eating the right kind of foods, making sure that I'm taking my supplements and not taking my health for a ride. Also, one thing that I personally, that has really worked for me is just staying away from my gadgets and staying away from social media, because I feel like it's not the reality, and it's all, that's not really your real life, because everyone's just putting their respective best version out there, and there's no point to indulge so much time into your gadgets, especially before you sleep. Very important to kind of end your day on a positive note, so I try to stay away from my phone. And also, when I start my day, I try to avoid going on social media the moment I wake up, because I don't want that kind of energy around me. So these are some of the things that have helped me. I'm no expert, of course, so this is just from my soul experience, and I can just hope that it helps. But to come to a conclusion of all of this is that mental health is so underrated, and it's so important to have this conversation, not just today but really every day. If you know people who are struggling around them, if you have friends, please make sure to be there for them. If you feel that you're struggling, don't hesitate for seeking for help. There's a lot of help out there, and it's absolutely okay if you're stressed or you're bogged down. It's something that we all deal with. I think the difference is only that some people talk about it and have the courage to talk about it, and some people don't. So you need to choose what side are you on. And yeah, I just hope that all of you are great. Don't forget to ask each other how you all are. I think how are you is just it's a question that needs to be asked more often. And try to be a great listener, and just try to surround yourself with a lot of positive vibes, and know that we're all here for each other. And yeah, lots and lots of love. I really appreciate you guys taking 20 minutes out of your very busy schedules, but I guess it's just important to hear the silence.